Hola amigos, Kathy Vick, Deeply Awake. I'm going to channel, but I want to give you a little bit of information. I don't know what you guys are experiencing. I can only go by the reports of my friends and then what I see on Facebook and on the blogosphere. And I follow Sandra Walter and Magenta Pixie, and not really getting into Cryon these days, but there are others. I get hungry for what's going on, for confirmation. You know what I mean? Is that what you do? That's what I do, and that's how I got into the really in-depth astrology. It's like, I know it has to be true because these things happen to me, these shifts, and then I read about the astrology and go, oh, holy crap, I just went through that. That's kind of why I enjoy watching Kaipacha. I'm really trying to figure out this hair. That's why I really enjoy Kaipacha, because it's nuts how he'll be saying his thing, and it's either what I've gone through or what I feel is appropriate to consider, contemplating, and always he will be really celebratory that it's here, we're doing it, and more that's how I feel. It's really beyond description, my joy sometimes. And one of the experiences when I was on Sunday, I guess, in the morning, I was watching a Saturday Night Live skits. I told my dad about this because I went out to his house for breakfast on Sunday. But beforehand, I was looking at videos, and there were some awesome skits. But there was one that struck me as odd. Well, there was one I didn't really like very much that seemed to be doing the male. Now how am I going to respond? It was it was the skit of the old dude who's funny and makes jokes being gross and lewd, and then the handsome man being gross and lewd. And how somehow the old guy, it was okay for him to grab ass and say those things. And I just don't find that humor funny. And I don't think that it's I think it just spoke to a lower consciousness when it comes to what's going on with as a society, learning how to hold more respect for women. Therefore, holding more respect for self as a male. And that means woman is actually holding herself in more respect. All right, well, that speaks to when the magnetics were changed, I went through an activation that I caught. I'm just going to leave it, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Was caught on tape of changing the magnetics of the chakra system. And what they explained about that procedure was that as a result of this, males are going to start looking at women who they may actually really have issues with and hate, and feel tenderness toward them. And they're not really going to be sure what to do with that. And women could get very lippy for a while and out of balance in that way. And to expect that. And that's what's happening. And it freaks me out sometimes in a way. It's confirmation. But it's that, it wasn't just that they changed the magnetics. Then they went on to explain what you could expect. And at the time, that was not what was going on. That was late spring or early summer of 2016. So, that's a big deal. That was quite a while ago. And it's coming to pass. The agreement that we had that males would have less keying up here in the pineal and in the crown, and more energy at the base, because these are circles, they're wheels. More energy focused in the first and second chakra. And women agreed to turn down their throats. That's what I was told by the teachers in 1992. That was the magnetic agreement. It was the experiment. And they told me this is in response to females having gone super unbalanced. They were in charge, and it was very, very dark in the end. And there have been others. And so I remember them saying, what's going on right now with the patriarchy running amok? Don't think, I was told, that they are unbalancing anything. They're bringing things into balance. So that's kind of neat. But it was the skit, the opening, the cold open, and I'll attach that to my blog post. I was about, I don't know, between 9 and 12 little children who wound up quickly visiting Santa, wanting to know about current events. Santa, I want to know about Roy Moore. Santa, I want to know. I mean, it just went on and on. I think that a kid even mentioned about an embassy in Jerusalem. Honest to God, all the hot topics. And then at the end, the female elf is the one who is in the know and you know, knuckle bumps the little girl and who is lippy, and the whole thing is beautiful. And at the end, there's a kid who is reflecting his general confusion about everything, and she gets on her knees and says, I know it's insane right now, and it's like beyond description insane, and we're all on one heck of a ride, but I know it's going to get better. And it may not be tomorrow, and it may not be next week. And she counted, you know, for 4 years for a presidency, but it's going to end, and we're going to heal from this. And it was right then that it came home in a brand new way. That, you know, these if they're not taken at a certain level, the current events and the things that are going on can be quite upsetting. And you add to that any kind of in-depth research that you might do, you can really get knocked off your horse. The energy is highly, highly polarized. Very, very intense. And requires razor edge discernment and doing as your soul is telling you to do. You can't do it wrong. Even if you fuck up, you're not doing it wrong. Even if you think you fucked up, or even if people around you told you that you fucked up, you didn't do it wrong. These are golden moments right now. These are sanctified days. This is holy, holy business we are on. And I really wanted to come on the 11th of December because tomorrow is the 12/12, and I reserve that day that's a holy day for me. I'm in observance, whatever I do, it doesn't matter what I do. I am in high observance of my soul that day. But I intend to be on my porch or standing on the earth, looking up into the sun at 12/12 tomorrow afternoon. And I will greet the dawn as I did in 94 on this 12/12, the way I did back then on the day of my teacher's ascension. I'll read aloud to myself the great invocation. And I'll remember my holiness. I'll remember my training. I'll remember why I'm here all day long tomorrow. But that's really why I'm here. Because I'm finding that that's what's happening all the time anymore. I have to tell you about a couple things that happened to me that really, really helped me. And then I'm going to bring them through. I've been writing this all down as it's been happening because it's really important to capture it. I like the Buddha. And so there's one that I might miss, but there's one that is really important. In 2012, I had a meditation where I was sitting on a throne, and it came to me that I was a queen. And they said, really billowy and loud, and it was like do this. It was, look outside. All of that, that's yours. And I saw the wheat rolls and, I don't know, trunks of gold or whatever. And I could sense and feel what it would be like to have been or to be this sovereign, because I understood that individual that I was meditating as was the queen of the land. And they led me through that. Everyone has their needs met. No one is intentionally harmed. Everyone is supported and heard. And there's justice and peace in this land. And I was the sovereign. And they said, look, all of this is yours. Okay? So that was one. And then, I don't know, a little bit later, I was really troubled because I knew that I had this new life I was supposed to do. And I didn't like my old one. I was getting tired of being a nurse, and I just felt so stuck. And I didn't like it, but I didn't know what to do. So I went to this group thing that had a channeler up there, and he was really cool. He built up the I built up the energy, and he had a hot seat where people could sit, and I intended to be the third, and I knew exactly what I was doing, and I just built the energy up. So by the time I got in that hot seat, it was hot in that room. And who spoke to me was the teachers. They used the same language that I had been trained in, not his language. And they spoke to me. And I said very honestly, I don't know how to do this. I'm supposed to end one life and begin another, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I need help. And they said, look at the eyewear you're wearing. And I had white cat glasses on at the time. It's as clear as the glasses on your face. Your new life rides with the old. And you're already doing it. And then the guy, and they had a lot more to say, but then he had a cane because he was recovering from hip surgery. And he took his cane and he knighted me, or, did that and that. And when he did that, I had a flashback of that meditation I'd had, and I could see the rolls of wheat and feel that feeling of steadiness and gentle peace and deep satisfaction that you could say was pride, but it's not. It's just being satisfied. But anyway, a couple mornings ago, I'm in meditation. And I don't slip into meditation very often. I'm in a meditative state all the time. But sometimes I like to go deeper. And I could immediately feel this funny thing above my head. And it was kind of catching on my hairs. And I looked up. It was a beautiful, beautiful crown. And I could feel the weight of it. And it was just hovering up there. And then I looked down, and what I was wearing was glowing. I looked to the right, and then I looked to the left, and it was glowing. And then I had my eyes closed. I looked down, and I saw this round thing, coming out of me like that. And it was doing this. breathing. But it was glowing and it was hot, and I realized it was the sun. There was a sun breathing, and it was me. And I understood that that's who I am. It's what I've become. I'm sovereign of me, consciously. And this level of acceptance and forgiveness, it comes and goes. Is that all right? But it's so thick so often. It just can't be denied. Why would I want to? What's the alternative? Think about the things I've lost. The people who've chosen not to sit next to me. The people who've died. The people I've neglected and who've abandoned me. The people who just got tired of me. Here I am. And so I thought to myself, well, this is real, because it felt real. I mean, I felt like I could walk out into the really, I apologize. I could walk out into that wheat field in my meditation. So I thought, well, I better check and see who's around me. Do I have a partner? And I looked to my left, and I looked to my right, and wouldn't you know it, there sat a throne. And they came through and they said, there have been those who have earned the right to occupy that chair. And they have. While you were not in awareness, not full awareness, and neither were they. You both thought you were sitting on chairs. But as yet, no one's earned the privilege to take on the conscious role of king. But I understood it was on its way. Why else would there be an extra throne there? Right? Right. So, that was pretty. And there have been some other things that have happened that have soothed me and quieted me, steadied me. I can't really say that I have or haven't had light shows. But, it used to be that I would have a vision, and that was like enough to drop everything and write about. But now it happens a lot. That's been something to get used to. I don't feel quite as obligated to mark the events because they are frequent and they move me along. And it seems to be when I plateau from these changes and realizations and releases, then I can come. Does that make sense? So the internal work has changed, and I share that with those who are going through such changes or are curious. Maybe you're partnered with somebody who's going through changes like this. And the thing is that, see, I was trained up. I got A vocabulary. There are so many. But I got my framework from this is my framework. It's not supposed to be anyone else's. It's a synthesis and a creation that I offer that comes from having been moved and educated, enlightened, and soothed by people with ideas and abilities I don't have. So remaining open, my oh my, without that, how does one proceed? Not necessarily to anything out there. In there. I can tell you I've gotten a lot of criticism through the years for being self-aware. And having it be seen as, no one's ever called me a narcissist. I am a bit, well, I'm very blunt. And I say things that I realize make people uncomfortable. But I realize that after the fact, I think I'm doing great. So there's always been for me this constant post-social contact mortification process. And I realize when I've said, it's like, what the hell? Or I realize that I haven't really been a very good friend, or I didn't listen, or that kind of thing. And I share that because, if you feel unfulfilled from someone you care about in conversation, I'm living proof that reviewing a conversation and then approaching someone and saying, I've been thinking about our last conversation and I didn't feel comfortable with how I responded. I could have done that better. And I don't feel comfortable with how I left things. Can I please tell you about it? I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And really, and I've said this on tape, the only person who has ever done that to me is, I think my dad. I haven't encountered many people who do that. I've encountered a lot more people who don't know how to say I'm sorry. So, I do that because I sometimes say things that did I really need to say that? No. I think when we were breaking things apart, being wonderful systems busters, that was a method of delivery. And for me now, I am in a state of meditation consciously. I choose to remain conscious, so but I am aware that I'm often moved to say and do things that I typically wouldn't or wouldn't have thought to mention. Whatever comes to pass with a friend is what needed to be said. And then if I think it clangs afterwards, I go back and say, oopsie, sorry. What I've tried to address through the years is my self-recrimination, my terror that I've done it wrong, and my utter belief that I'm not accepted as I am. And that comes from years of training. But I think that that's a burden. It's a burden to believe that that other people don't care or whatever, any of those mean things. And of course, with the law of reflectivity, I then look at myself and wonder where are the areas where I'm just not caring about myself. But further, do I have the guts to admit that I don't care about X, Y, or Z out there? Do I have the balls? If I simply don't care, is it okay to just admit that? There's another little wrinkle. I remembered the thing I wanted to tell you about. It's been coming through again and again. It came before that pretty meditation with the crown. I've been feeling more and more like I am this bigger thing. That this personality that oftentimes will just, get pushed and poked, and she just crumples and cries. So sensitive. This whole personality structure, it's been under, a bit of a morphing from one natal chart to another, one energetic to another, one set of allowances to another. And in this process, I have come to understand that I am the teachers and the teachers are me. There's the bigger me. And they're a drop in the ocean of consciousness. They're just the ones that open up the gate. I know what it's like to channel Sanat Kumara. I know what it's like to walk with him. But that's a personality. It's a signature. It's a song. And there's something singing that song. And that's what I saw. It was in the morning time, and I felt so big, so expanded. And lately I've been hit with just how beautiful, how loving, given all the opportunities I have had for my heart to turn cold and small and closed. How stunning it is to me that I'm here singing this song of ascension, of love, of atonement, of innocence and purity and light. It's not a miracle. It's a testament to my power, to my grace, my intelligence, my endurance, my devotion. Not my will, but thine be done. Not my will, but thine be done. It makes any blow something that you can recover from. So I've felt real pride for what I've become and who I have become. Endless willingness to self-deprecate, and truly less willingness to go dark, to even consider dark things. That's new. And I like it. And it could be because of this meditation I had. I could feel this me as this big thing. Big soul. Like bigger than a planet. And I heard this beautiful song, and it was just this one note, and it was very beautiful. And I realized that was me. That was my life up to now. And it was so pretty. But it's a song. It's not the only song. And I felt so happy, so complete, having been a singer and a performer in choirs, I know about singing. The joy in just nailing it and learning and just singing. But there is something that is just beyond description when you practice, and then all of us get together and we perform. It's like lightning in a bottle. It's creating something so beautiful in that moment. And as it's being created, it disappears, it dissolves into emotion, into the audience's hearts. And it's just this beautiful thing. And it's such a pretty metaphor and very, very apt. Because we're a choir. Each of us are singing a pure, pure note. And I think that the note becomes dissonant or hard to listen to or hard to tolerate when there's just a lot of pain and misunderstanding of the singer and the song. So I wanted to give that to you. I know it'll be a long tape and I don't care. Hasn't it been said, the longer the tape, the more juicy the information, the longer they go. The deeper they go and the more risks they take, the more they give. Yeah, so, yeah. Right. Yes, we have been coming through a lot. We have been teaching and teaching. And this one at this point is saying, oh, well, you know, the voice, I don't need the voice. Well, this is true. But what we say, have we not said it? We will say it again. It's a way for this body to leapfrog. Because what we represent is something, we are the friends at the gate. That's what we are. It would be false to believe that we hang out at the gate. Did we not ascend and say, with our ascension, it would not be possible to communicate the frequencies were such that you can call it frequency, you can call it dimension, anything you want. It would not be possible for the human being to understand. It wasn't appropriate to step in. She no longer needed a teacher. So, can you not understand? We have not stepped down our energy. And it took until 2016 for us to come through. Yes. This should give you an example or an idea of the dimensions that are inhabited. And we would say the column that has been described is apt and true. Within you. Within you. We have talked so much about the neurobiology and how it is changing. But indeed, you have within you a superhighway. And with training, intention, with joy, the superhighway is ready for you, you know. It's not something that you step upon. is something you stumble upon within. You do not see it out there. Of course, there are many carrots. There are many ways to get you to the place where you understand within you is the ability to go to any dimension. There are membranes within this column, all metaphoric at this point. And the membranes are pierced with intention, with love, with trust. And there are bridges which once across, one cannot go back comfortably. It's no longer appropriate. The consciousness has changed. This is indeed what we are talking about. This is what is happening on this planet, you understand? Not to just this one. Come on now. Look at your own life. Look how it is. How you feel now compared to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20, 30, 40 years ago. The pace is phenomenal. And there is nothing to worry about now. We are aware of much that is to come. We ask you to trust. Trust yourself. Trust your heart. Close your eyes and feel your body. And know it wishes more than anything to have a conversation with you. It can slow things down for you. This body of yours, it is an emanation from and of light. Each of you are light beings, energetic light beings. Each of you contain DNA, which allows you to activate all the layers of your DNA. The complex task. But when your DNA comes online, you will understand. You stand within. A vessel of light. Now, we would say this is hard to translate, perhaps, into daily life. Perhaps it's not necessary to be thinking these lofty thoughts as you cut your food, prepare your meal, prepare your taxes, consider a sunset. So may we say, we ask that you do not criticize your consciousness. If you are not having lofty thoughts all the time, it's fine. The question that many have is they want the the feeling state of expansion and bliss and self-acceptance to remain thick. And we would say that part of the dimensional reality is to realize that you contain all of the dimensions within you. And the dips, that is because the lower agreement fields are in your awareness. And your fellows may be knee-deep in these agreement fields. It's the game afoot. So, given that the magnetics have indeed changed, and that DNA activation is real and occurring, like wildfire, like we said. Yes, walk around with the Nolita pretty Merkaba, full of intention, full of divine will. How can it not change all that it encounters? Yes, those who do not wish to be affected don't show up, because direct contact creates changes. So, perhaps this explanation will help you if you are having waves of individuals come in and leave your life, huh? Oh, you have unusual encounters with strangers, which are deep and true. Yes, you yourself are a blessing to all you meet, whether they bitch and moan and scream at you or not. Doesn't matter. Yes. In the ascended state, there are fewer emotional reactions, but many moving and true emotional responses, creating a landscape or tableau with the emotion rather than a weapon to use on self or others. Yes, we would say that the love of self, the great love of self, oh my, the love of self, once that comes online, once it becomes clear to you that it is not appropriate, it's nasty to not be in some sort of admiration for yourself. And it's so deep that it's so bubbly and humorous and honest and heartfelt. Oh, I understand. But you know, it's very nice to have someone on the outside do that. Oh, I understand. It's gonna be okay. Everything's going to be okay. You may or may not have that. Here is a beautiful thing we would like to pass on. Yes, we talk a lot about love. And we don't use the word with great affection, partly because it's been so diluted, or it means so many things. What does that tell you? Well, the culture is perhaps not one that is particularly verbal about the love, about the feelings. When one word stands for many mood states or realities, well, it does speak to the mystery of this thing we are speaking of. And so, we would ask you to consider truly contemplating the miracle that you are. If going to a mirror helps, or if you are scared to go to a mirror, we ask you to fight through that fear and seek out your eyes in the glass. We ask you to gaze deeply into your eyes and then study that face. Take it in. We ask you, if you were to observe a person looking into a mirror, deeply gazing, it may not look like much. It may look like someone is touching up their face or something. We would say, if you don't do it a lot or you're doing it for hygiene purposes, to look at that glass differently now and then. Look into the eyes. Study the nose and the mouth and the teeth and the face and the hair and the body. Consider that the human you observe was once a baby. And think upon the things you have overcome, that you must have, since you are now staring into a mirror, having a think. An overcomer. Perhaps you look in the mirror and you are disturbed because you know you have harmed others. You know that the behavior has been harmful. Take a look into those eyes and reflect on how you have gone out of your way to harm yourself or withhold your own good. If you are distressed about how you have treated others, we ask you to make the next step now. To ask yourself, where you have been, whatever, dishonest, or it's very, very difficult and unpleasant when you have to face up to the things you have done that disappoint your own being. If that is not done, and as we have said, or she has said, then follow it up with thoughts of renewal, of hope, of forgiveness, of redemption. Right above the darkness of guilt and shame and all those things, if you experience them, feel them, but understand they are flimsy compared to what is fueling everything. Look upon your face lovingly, with awe, say that many things can happen which can alter things when mirror gazing is employed. Many people resist this act. There is much in the way of forgiveness which is required of self. And this comes with being forgiven and knowing grace. We mention all of this because in very little time the solstice will be upon you. We have tried to impress upon humanity that built into this ascension process are celestial triggers. And you may acquaint yourself with these triggers if you wish, but they occur whether you're aware of them, whether you consent to them. If you are on this planet in human form, you consent. You have perhaps tricked yourself into having forgotten. It's amnesia. You are here on purpose, and your bigger self is excited about these triggers. We have asked that each person live their best day each day. There's no greater gift to self, to us, to Creator, than filling yourself with joy. It's okay to be neutral. It's okay to be angry and sad. It's okay to have any feeling at all. But what we were trying to get across is that the solstice, and the days before and after, certainly are quite heavily loaded. They are keyed. That means that if you hold the keys, if you hold the pattern, then like a needle on a vinyl record, music will sing from you. There are different frequencies, dimensions, and civilizations represented on Earth, Homogeny is not the idea. Realization, completion. And returning to home while in physical form is what is afoot for many. We will not say even what is most probable. We allow this one to puzzle it out, and we wish for you to have your own experience. This is a time of grief. And if you are having someone else's experience, well, we would ask you to stay in your core, in the first layer. Within the vibration of infant and mother in love. And so, this is the message. It has been the cry. With this one, to feel that, hello baby. Okay, we don't know what Sam's doing. To feel that sensation of being in love. Oh my gosh, that's fun. But the messages have been coming through quite well. If you're able to feel it with another, you are capable of feeling it for all, for self. And you may have that delicious awareness at any time. You recall what it's like to be in love. It doesn't have to be a sexual union. We are talking about a deep connection that you have with another human being that makes you bigger and better and happier and more loving. And makes sparkles. And there are different gradations of this, you know. Who can do that? And be aware. It's not as rare as you have been led to believe. It is your divine right. Once the shadows are seen for what they are, once fear is seen for what it is, once innate resistance melts, morphs, and itself becomes aware of itself, of its worth, of its purpose, it can then be released. It is no longer necessary. A paper tiger. Yes. Unless you live in an unprotected environment or you are subject to violence. May we suggest that the fear that you hold from day to day is an overreaction. Perhaps yours is not to survive a lifetime. Perhaps you are here for a bigger purpose. Perhaps you are protected. Perhaps these lower agreement field feelings of guilt and shame and all those things, how necessary, really. If you're on the path, if you have the intention, we are saying self-love is the balm. Admiration for self, understanding of self, acceptance of self. It becomes an invisible thing. It becomes a smile on the face. It becomes an open and generous heart. It becomes welcoming arms. Need not be discussed. It is self-evident. And so, we suggest it's possible to feel the glorious sensation of being in love. As a natural state, which requires a certain focus that has been absent. Oh well, tomorrow is a new day. The galactic core beckons. Be wary of the things you see in the sky. Use your wonder and your discernment. We ask you to fear not and be of good cheer. To think that something that might visit you or surprise you or shock you is wrong or bad, of the devil, or another brick in the wall, or no. Trumpet sounds announcing that you're on the home stretch. We have said for so long, expect wildcats. Yes, yes, yes. And then laugh when you see them, yes? Let your heart be light. Celebrate. Enjoy the chaos. You only despair in it if you believe that it is long-lasting. It is not. It is a symptom. It's like humanity is coughing up a bubble, spasming, convulsing, talking to itself. Well, that's fitting, don't you think? Given what's at hand. There is no specific way with it. We suggest you spend the 12-12, okay? It doesn't matter, you do as you see fit. Have we not said that even at the eclipse time? Well, that some will be out there getting all the rays and doing what comes naturally, and others will be suddenly, unexpectedly called away to have a meeting with Bob. Well, if that is your lot, and you do not say no, well, have we not said that means that Bob had important things to say? Let's hope they were. Where you find yourself, what you are aware of, is blessed. It's perfect. It's designed specifically for you. Isn't that pretty clear? When you do have a bit of synchronicity, and it has that personal touch, how can it not? And you realize, if you explain this, it could be explained away. But you know, it carries more meaning than that. Synchronicity. Well, it becomes a weave. And the codes are far more easy to see. The patterns. And the overwhelming love. Each and every human being on earth is held. Even your mortal enemy. Maybe that's the president, I don't know. If you can truly love yourself, it becomes pretty obvious very soon that it feels better than anything else. Because it's true. You function better because you are functioning within the truth, in appreciation for who you are. As it clears, what is left, as we have said, is something that can be invisible, not referenced, which comes out in an easiness. It's okay to be calm. It's okay to have peace. It's okay to, within, experience
GPS signal lost.
No battle. How else, dear ones, can peace on earth occur? The war within each ceases for each to know these burdens they carry, these judgments they hold about self. The difficulties and the sacrifices and the burdens and the joys, the service. Well, evidence of a life well lived, evidence of someone who was worthy of a kind word. Give yourself one. Start there. If you are expecting your neighbor to usher in the golden age of peace on earth, you may be waiting a long, long time. It's not about that anymore. They are now waiting for you. Do you understand? You cannot take such a task on without some changes, and we see the face has morphed into something quite spectacular. Very bulbous nose. A male with white hair, studious eyes, yes, and a crooked grin. Ha! Isn't that funny? Yes, the flashing of the faces, the beautiful songs that have been sung, the individual signatures which blend into a symphony of meaning. This is what you are. You don't earn it. you earn that which you already possess. We are pleased with our work, and we will go ahead and post this, and we are very pleased to have given this to you. Another drop in the ocean, right? Another drop which contains the ocean. And together, each of you, individual drops, come together and sweep upon this land. Creating a verdant paradise. Keep your beautiful green heart open. Rise above the pain. Minister to it when you can. Allow new tools and skills to come online. Trust yourself. It is past time to surrender to your mastery. And so we ask that you enjoy the solstice and all of these triggers. Oh my. And yes, daily life will blaze on through those days, but allow yourself to understand, to believe, to trust. That your walk upon this holy land as a linear year progresses into another. You are joined on this earth with a legion. And this legion loves you. You are well protected. It's okay to relax into this next part. Relax and fall into it. Like stretching out on a very comfortable recliner. Or feeling yourself being wonderfully pulled on some kind of device that allows you to just move forward without effort and without fear. Yes. Yes. So a transmission of energy and of a little bit of information package. You know, it's beautiful, and it's up for at this time. And so there you go. It's your gift, and we are going to oh my, do a couple of things and then take rest. Take rest. Oh yes, the rest is going to be a good one tonight. It's been a couple of days of not much rest, and so the body is very excited about deep sleep. However you spend your 12-12 eve, we ask that you spend just a little bit of time patting yourself on the back for coming this far. With or without a smile on your face, it doesn't matter. You're here. You can smile now. It's over. Sailor.